Welcome, everybody. Again, we are live here on YouTube and on Instagram. The reason we can be that is because I have a live guest again. So since
what? Crazy.
I know. Since it's not a remote guest, I can be live on Instagram and on YouTube.
What?
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Today's guest is none other than my daughter. She is 16 years old. Actually, you're getting close to 17.
Yeah. Once summer ends and September rolls around.
17 years old. Super crazy. So
I know, wild.
yeah.
Yes, hello, Lucky.
So I usually do tell my guests kind of what questions I'm going to ask them. But I haven't really talked to her about the questions because I really want to get her live reactions and everything like that. So
Shocking.
I know. Because a lot of people on the internet seem to think that my child is in a bad situation,
Clearly.
they feel sorry for my children. What else have we seen? That I'm a terrible parent.
Absolutely.
Yes.
She's a horrid.
Yeah.
I could never freaking.
It's the other team. Yeah, so
I could never freaking love her.
right.
Never. Absolutely not.
So we're here to set the record straight a little bit and to get the team's perspective on all of the parental controls and everything that I'm always talking about. Because one of my big things is making sure that you have frequent conversations with your kids. So we'll get into that in a little bit too.
Wahoo.
So this is just one of the conversations that we have on a regular basis, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Queso.
queso. You want some cheese, right?
That'll be fantastic. Thank you. I'll
I know.
go grab some right now. I'm
Yes,
kidding.
cheese.
I do like cheese.
So what are some of the advantages first of having such a wonderful tech expert as a parent?
Well, for one, if something goes wrong, you can immediately go, Mom! Mom! The Wi-Fi's Mom!
It's broken.
It's broken!
Yeah.
Yeah, so it definitely helps that there is someone who's knowledgeable about tech around having them around the house to, it's like if something goes wrong, you can go up to them and you are like fantastic at troubleshooting.
It's kind of what I think, kind of what I do.
Have you tried turning it off and then turning it back on again?
No, this is
Well,
her
lucky.
bird.
I know.
And if you have any questions for my daughter or for myself, definitely leave them in the chat. We will get to those at the end of the questions that I have ready to ask. So yeah, that is a good thing. I can fix stuff as it breaks.
Since we are a very tech-savvy family, we have like technology in basically every room of our house.
Yeah.
So
We have quite a bit of technology.
it's good to have someone who knows tech around, so we don't have to call maintenance like every other week.
Yeah. And as a part of what I've been doing for the last, ever since you've been alive, basically.
Yeah.
I do get a lot of free technology too. So that's another advantage that you guys have.
Free tech.
Yeah, they get plenty of technology stuff to try out and things like that. So there are some advantages to having a tech expert as a parent, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, what are the disadvantages of having a tech expert as a parent?
Disadvantages is like, see, it's like, I mean, I guess you kind of are cooped up in your office like for the majority of the day, so
It's true.
like you don't like come out as often to like spend like personal time, but honestly you do set some time aside to like go on like fun little trips here and there.
True.
So like while you may not be like around the house as often, we can still do like fun things. You aren't cooped up there 24/7.
That's true. Yeah. So I work a lot. I have a full-time job.
Yeah.
I have a full-time job and I do this stuff on the side. So I have kind of 2 full-time jobs. So that's super fun. So yeah, I do end up spending a lot of time up here, right in front of my computer.
Yeah.
So I think as a kid, I wasn't able to really take you guys to the library and and things like that, just because I've always worked. But that's definitely a problem.
You definitely made up for like a lot of lost time. You have taken us to a lot of fun places.
I try. Probably another disadvantage, and this is just a personal disadvantage, is I'm not very good at anything else. I'm good at technology.
And nothing else.
I'm not good at cooking. I'm not good at crafting.
You're pretty good at cooking.
Well, okay. I can follow a recipe.
There you go.
I can follow a recipe super, super well. Yeah. Actually, so we'll get to questions afterwards. I'll highlight that in a little bit. So second question is, any other disadvantages to having a tech expert as a parent?
I mean, like, I would say that, like, you know how to, like, take advantage of our tech, but, like, we can get into that topic eventually. Because, like, sure. I honestly do not see that as a disadvantage.
Cool. Good. I'm on top of it.
It would be for a sneaky kid.
Yeah, I'm on top of it. That could be a disadvantage for sneaky kids, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's dig into what kind of restrictions do you have on your devices?
So,
devices.
I'd say I have like 3 main categories of like restrictions. There's internet restrictions, which basically turns off like the Wi-Fi and stuff when I like haven't done my chores, so I'm not able to like access like social media or like YouTube or all that stuff. Like just the internet in general, like that's just completely off until she decides to turn it on.
I have power.
Mommy,
power.
Turn it on, please. Turn on the Wi-Fi. And then the second main is app restrictions, which is essentially like certain apps can be blocked entirely. Like, you cannot use this app. You are grounded from this app. Don't even touch it. But like sometimes
that's happened.
Yeah. I think like the last time you like had like that kind of restriction, like the apps were just kind of gone from my like home for like my home screen like entirely. They were just so I'm like,
power.
Can't even click them. But, and then the third main restriction is browser restrictions, which limit like certain websites and also like block like, you know, like mostly just certain websites. Like you don't want me like going to like dangerous places, so obviously you have those blocked, so I'm not able to access them.
Right. Good job. Those are the restrictions I have on your devices.
What crazy.
I know, super crazy. Has that changed as you've gotten older? Like,
yes, absolutely. There used to be a fourth restriction, being a restriction basically for the entire phone. Like, I remember there being like a time limit for like every single app essentially, and like the more I use them, like the more that single time limit would drain, and once that's out, like I can only access like certain apps like my music or like the texting app, and that's it.
Yeah,
basically like the same sort of situation with like blocking the Wi-Fi, except it's like just the phone goes down on a time limit.
Right.
But that restriction is no longer there. It's like there used to be little time limit just right there. Now it's gone because I'm responsible.
Who still has that restriction on their device?
The
brother. Because he is still 13. So, so definitely restrictions grow as you get older, because my goal is eventually when they're like 18, fly little birdie. Fly, little birdie. Fly, little birdie. Eventually I want them to be able to manage themselves. So if I am completely restrictive all the way up until they're 18 and then just like let go of the reins,
they'll have no idea what to do.
Right. So I want to teach them proper use as they get older, and open up more things and open up more things. And so,
Yeah.
As she's turning 17 soon, 17, so crazy. Like, how am I old enough to have a 17-year-old? I really just want to know that, because I'm still like 20, right?
Yeah.
So was
Clearly.
I 3 when I had you?
Clearly.
Because I'm 20. So this year will probably even release even more of the restrictions, and I've even been trying to do that this summer, where if she's getting her chores done in the morning, then I don't disable the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
But as she stops getting her chores done in the morning, then I disable the Wi-Fi.
And I'm like, fine.
Yeah, and then she gets her chores done.
Fine.
But so let's get on to, so those things have changed as you've gotten older. What are your thoughts and feelings about all of these restrictions? How do they make you feel inside?
I actually really love them. Like, obviously they can be annoying at times. like obviously,
like what happened in Splatoon last night.
Yeah,
or the night before.
I was playing an online game, Splatoon. And I was kicked out of the match because the Wi-Fi turns off at 10:20, and I'm like, what? I was in the middle of the game. No. And so that was.
And she comes in, she's like, does the Wi-Fi automatically turn off at a specific time? I don't know why she didn't know that this happened before.
I didn't know that it did, but I didn't know I did it at 10:20. I thought it was 10:30, like everything else.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I adjust it and
or
make it later when something's happening or whatever. So sometimes I have to go back and look at all the different times and make sure it's all the right times.
And I'm just like, man, I was in the middle of tower control.
So okay,
it can be annoying at times, especially if you're in the middle of something and you forget that you have a time limit. So when that runs out, you're like, oh shoot, I forgot to say goodbye. So, but I personally believe that it's ultimately a very great thing, super good to have it be restrictive and all that stuff, especially at younger ages, because the internet can suck. There is a lot of questionable, extremely questionable stuff. I've seen I don't know, browsing YouTube, I've just seen thumbnails of people talking about the nightmare that is YouTube Kids, and we're not even gonna delve into that rabbit hole. But if you have these restrictions, then obviously the kid might be all sassy about it, oh boo-hoo, I want full access to all this stuff, but they ultimately need to understand that this is to protect them. We have rules, we have laws that will protect us. They aren't rules for us to follow just because they're there.
Yeah.
Wearing a seatbelt or
that I use that analogy all the time. It's like she's heard that from me or something. But yes, wearing a seatbelt.
Let's talk about that. Following traffic laws.
She's a driver now, so she knows these things. And we will get to questions. I've seen a few questions pop in, so we'll get to those at the end. But yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. And it's, I guess it'd be more comparable to a baby seat. Yeah. Obviously you can't put a tiny child in a full seat right off the bat. True. You need to give them the right little restrictive little buckles and belts, and just to make sure they're secure and they don't bounce around your car like a ping pong ball.
Right.
So, and then as they grow up and time goes on, you get rid of the baby seat, maybe get a bigger one, and you
get a booster chair.
Yeah. And then eventually they're big enough where they can just use the seatbelt right away.
I love that analogy. And I also I talk about parental controls like a seatbelt. And it's not that I don't trust you. It's that it's there to protect you.
It's building a responsibility
for when things hit the fan.
Yeah.
So, it's not that the government doesn't trust us to stay seated in our cars.
Yeah.
We're probably going to stay seated in our cars. And we're probably going to stay seated in our cars. But we have the seatbelt there because if we get in an accident, we can't stay seated in our cars.
Exactly. Exactly. So like that's why I strongly agree and believe in having like increasingly less restrictions as your child gets older and more responsible.
I'll pay you the $20 I promised you afterwards. I did not tell her to say anything. These are her actual. She's like,
wink, 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 winkety, wink, wink, wink.
Sustainable. Okay, so those are your thoughts and feelings about restrictions. What would you like to change about the restrictions that you currently have?
Currently I feel like it is very good. It's like I have a time limit on both Instagram and Discord at the moment, but nowadays I hardly even encounter those time limits anymore because I've like learned to be more responsible with my time and like use it more sparingly. Like when I have like free time, when I'm done my chores, and like heck, I even doing like other things. Like I'm on Google Docs writing stories, or I'm on my tablet drawing pictures instead of like
or creating your D&D campaign that you did yesterday.
That was tons of fun. Like I can be like on other websites and interacting with other kinds of people, like, and not just like all day.
Not just scrolling all day.
Yeah.
You're more intentional about when you use those.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I personally feel like my restrictions are at a perfect spot for like my responsibility level and my age. Like awesome. You can still turn things off if need be, but I've learned quite well to be able to just get stuff done on my own and focus on what's important. And like, while again, I still do have problems every now and then. It usually just takes a little bit of a reminder to get me going. Like this morning.
Like, Maddie, so what are you doing?
Drawing.
So should you be doing your chores instead?
Yes.
But I really want to finish this. Okay, well, sometimes we have to do things we need to do
before we do things
we want to do.
Fine.
I didn't include this in the list that I gave you, but in the past, when you felt that there should be a change in your restrictions, what have you done and what have I done?
Usually we just talk it out. But like even then, like I normally don't have to like come up to you and ask for a restriction to be removed. Like you do that on your own, and I'm like, oh, sick.
As she gets older, I'm like, oh, okay, she probably doesn't need this one now.
Yeah, like that's around like what I felt of like when you got rid of like the overall restriction. I'm like, oh, cool.
Sweet. Guess I don't need that anymore. Yeah, so like in the past, you've also like approached me with like, hey, I want this app, and this is why I feel like I should have it. Like, we were talking about that VR chat and stuff.
Oh, like yeah. That. Well, that was only lasted for like 24 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, we shut that down right away.
Fair enough.
But you created a whole like list of like things like
I promise to stay safe.
Right. Yeah. So like. We listen to you is what I'm trying to say is listen to your kids when they're like, okay, hey, I think that I should have Snapchat now. Yeah. So here are the reasons why I should have Snapchat and etc.
Do you really need it though?
That's my girl. She does not have Snapchat. So let's segue into that. What social media apps do you use?
I really only have like 3 that I care about, being Instagram, Discord, and YouTube. And then I also have I only have like a few games. I only have like 1 game, but like I am rarely like elsewhere on the internet because like I don't need to go anywhere else. Like on Instagram, what I like to do here is like find funny things, find like memes, but I also enjoy finding like really cool art. Like, wow, look at that, so cool. And I will have them like all saved in like save photos.
She likes art. She draws.
I sure wonder
good artist, actually.
So like I'll find like things that I like and just keep them all compiled, saved, like so I can look at them later. Cute birds.
She likes birds.
I sure wonder why.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
But
like Instagram and Discord and YouTube.
yeah,
Those are the main
Discord. I like using Discord because like it allows me to like sort through like both individual people like on the internet and also like communities that I can join or create. So I can
apps. You've
talk to
created
people.
a couple communities.
Yeah, like so I can talk to people with like common interests because I have a lot of very niche interests. So it's always fun to find like people who can like I can relate to online and like talk to them there. So I can just have someone to like ramble about my ideas and such with. It's like that is like a huge positive I feel like that comes with like the internet and all that stuff. And like same goes for YouTube. It's just fun find like I use YouTube for the same thing I use Instagram. I come across videos that are either really cool or really funny, and I save them with in my liked videos. And it just yeah, some of them are songs too. I really like listening to music.
So since we're talking about social media apps, we're actually just gonna go to this one question that I saw really quick
Okay.
from Dale Dumbs It Down, which is a great channel. You should check that one out. Dale Dumbs It Down.
All right.
Not you. You should check it out. I'm like, you can check it out too, but it talks a lot about like, stuff I talk about.
Yeah.
Curious teens' thoughts on the need of apps like Snapchat, messages that disappear. Like, why do you think teens are using these apps? And do you think they need them? I mean, obviously they don't because you don't use Snapchat.
True, but I do think communication apps like across the internet are pretty important. Like it obviously depends on what it is. Discord is like my current favorite,
right.
Because it's like it's diversity and ease of use. I don't like how much it begs you to use Nitro.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like use Nitro to use all the stuff. I'm like, why? Anyway, but I do feel like it's very important because, like I said, people can have very niche interests.
Right.
So, turning to the internet to find people who have similar interests to you is very awesome, and like it can be very good for like people to be able to talk with people who they like the same things. Like, oh no way, you watch this show? I do too. Let's talk about our favorite characters or plot lines. Let's listen to the music together.
Yeah.
So like having those interactions is really awesome, but like those apps should only be used for those kinds of interactions because you're still a real being. Like you need to have like real and people you talk to in real life too. While they may not have interests like yours, there can still be some things in common. Like, oh, you like sports? I like sports. Or you like video games? Yeah, we can play video games together. Like, while it can be harder to find people who have those interests, it is worth searching for people like those to have a friend in real life you can talk to and interact with, and just like have a balance of your online self and your in real life self.
Yeah, I like that. Now, again, this is not in the list of questions that I already gave you, but as you're talking to strangers online, what are some of the rules that I have put on you for those communications?
For one, never, ever, ever, under any circumstance, reveal your personal information, which includes your location, real name in most cases, because like some people use their like real name and like their handles or whatever.
Yeah.
But and like phone number.
If they're a kid.
Yeah, especially if they're a kid.
Right.
Phone number.
Obviously, I use my real name. But
phone number, email, especially if it's a personal email. And like other such stuff like that. Stuff that will reveal like who you are in real life and where you are and that sort of stuff. But like things that are open to discuss are like your favorite things that are more subjective about you. Like maybe you like art, so you could say that like you make art, you can show things that you've worked on and like that sort of stuff. Stuff that can't be traced back to you as a person.
It's so beautiful. And speaking of that, what about if the conversation gets weird? Like, if you feel uncomfortable with where the conversation is heading, like, what do you do in those situations?
Put a cork in it as soon as possible. Or at the very least, if you've been talking to this person for a while and you've developed a connection with them, it would start to like And if it starts getting weird, it would be smart to start like discussing with them and your parents or your guardian figures and like try to work things out.
Yeah.
So like maybe this is just like a one-time thing, like it's like a moment of panic or like desperation.
Right.
So then once that's over, then like you two can be back to being buds.
Yeah.
But like hold firm, tell your guardian figures, and
set boundaries for yourself.
Set boundaries.
Yeah.
And like hold your ground. Tell them to stop it. Stop it. Tell them to stop it.
The other teen is listening in. He didn't really want to participate, but he's there apparently participating. Yeah, so those are very, very good advice. What is important as a parent, like, because we're talking mostly to parents here, for my reaction? If you come to me and say, hey, I've been talking to this person online,
and they acting kind of sus.
Yeah. So what is a good reaction? What would you hope to see from your parent?
Definitely a calm and measured reaction, like reading over the conversation, consoling like a potentially nervous child.
Yes.
Because like I know like going to your parents is not very easy.
It's true.
That's like in some cases. Yeah. So like be calm, be measured, like read through the conversation so you have context.
Yes.
And do what you think would be best in that moment. Whether like depending on like said conversation, either like advise them to like turn it, like cut the conversation off, or like just tell them to stop and maybe we can work out a solution, or even like just have like let the parent take the lead and like have them take the conversation from there. Like, it's time to stop.
Nice. Okay, we'll move on to these questions. Do you feel like you have privacy? That's one of the things people get on my case for, is just give your children privacy already.
So she's breathing down my neck, guys.
All the time. What you doing? What are you doing? What's going on?
But okay.
So do you feel like you have privacy?
Like the thing about privacy is that there's a difference between giving your child privacy and protecting your child. So I feel like privacy heavily depends on age. Yeah. Obviously, you want to be like monitoring them for like everything they do when they're like very young. Yeah. Because babies are stupid. They're going to do stupid things. So you want to be there to pick them up before they put the fork in the electrical socket. So, yeah. Exactly. So, like, there's a difference between supervising and giving them privacy. There's a fine line there. But, like, as time goes on, there should, and like as you gain more trust in your child, there should be more and more of a window where you can just leave them alone and they'll be fine. Yeah. So like that trust needs to be built like slowly over time, with like maybe you start by like just standing in the same room as them and then being able to like leave and then check back every few minutes, and then like being able to leave them for a few hours, right, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. Same kind of thing with your online interactions.
Exactly. Yeah. So like whether you're like monitoring everything they do, like all the time they spend, and then maybe just checking in every few like hours, and then not needing to check at all unless there's like an alert or something. Right. And then like maybe just leaving it completely alone. Because like I remember you telling me you have like alerts for when my friends like swear like online, and you eventually just like you just let me know about it, and like it's fine though. Yeah. Like, and I'm like, yeah, cool.
Yeah, I'm like, she doesn't choose to swear.
Frick.
Sort of. But some of her friends do, and I mean, she's 17 or almost 17, so she's gonna encounter people that are swearing. So I can't shelter her from that forever.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm getting these alerts. And it's like, yeah, every time she swears, I'm getting an alert. Like, so if she could cut it back, that would be great because I'm sick of getting these alerts. But like I said, but she's not going to get in trouble for that.
Yeah, because like I'm not going to be learning these behaviors because I've already learned not to swear.
Right. So there's that.
Yeah, I do feel like I do have privacy.
Good. So, do you feel like there is any true privacy with your online interactions? Do you think anything you do online is ever completely private?
No. Because
that's the right answer.
Yeah, like honestly, everything you do online is never completely private. Because like there will be someone, like whether it's in like the comment sections of YouTube or even like a direct message, there's always gonna be someone who knows what you did and what you said. Like so
they can screenshot it, they can send it to people you don't want it to see.
Caught in 4K.
Caught in 4K.
Yeah. Wrong thing.
Yeah.
Kind of forget.
Cool. Yeah, that's exactly right. There is no true privacy, even for me. Like anything I do online can be recorded for
which is like the ultimate reason why you need to keep your identity a secret.
Yeah.
Like as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, and a reason why you need to be careful about what you're saying online too.
Yeah.
Because something that you say now can come back and bite you 10, 20 years down the road.
Absolutely.
So speaking of that, coming back to bite you, like, wow, these are segueing really nicely into each other.
Crazy.
I know. What mistakes do you see your friends making on social media?
Definitely like revealing personal information.
Sure.
It's like I have like some of my friends like will like show pictures of themselves like selfies or whatever online and like oh it's fine, they know my name, they know my face, and I'm like they shouldn't.
Like, do they know who you are in real life? Then maybe they shouldn't know that.
Exactly. Like definitely like keeping that stuff private. I'm just like, you shouldn't. I've been telling Paisley because like Paisley especially has been like doing this a lot, and I'm just like, please don't.
Yeah.
Like honestly, I feel like the most you can do, like the very, very like least information you could give them is like what your time zone is, what state you live in, because they're not gonna. I don't think anyone's gonna like scour like every inch of a state to just find one kid, knocks on the door. Hello, is this the residence of Pocket Artist 151?
Right.
Yeah. So like, just be careful.
Yeah.
You don't know when stuff like that could really bite you in the butt.
I like that. Have you made any mistakes on social media?
Definitely when I was younger. I remember back when I was playing like online games like Animal Jam and such.
Sure.
There was a time where I on my YouTube account, I had my real name. Like,
oh right, I remember this. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mentioned my username like in the YouTube comments.
Animal Jam.
And someone on Animal Jam came and found me and started like saying my real name, and I'm just like. We ended up changing. We
had to change your username.
Yeah.
So you did.
Yeah.
I had forgotten about that.
Well, you're welcome.
I know, right?
Core memory right there.
I'm
kidding.
Yeah. So, thinking back to me as a parent, what kind of conversations do we have on a regular basis about technology?
You normally just kind of check in, like. Not doing anything inappropriate. Maddie? No, I'm kidding. It's just like a check-in, like kind of like a checkup. You just like talk to them. It's like, oh, like what have you been doing recently? Like, and you can like show up like, oh, I've been like working on this, or I've been watching these videos, and they can be like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then we just move on, and like.
Have I explained to you what remember that bot we were talking about earlier? The P bot? Like I don't want to say it because I get demonetized on YouTube.
Oh yeah, like the post I found.
So like, have I talked to you about what that is? What is inappropriate content?
Yeah, like you
Or-
have talked to me about like the naughties of the internet.
The naughties of the internet.
And I do know to steer clear of those.
Yeah. Do we also talk about like sometimes I'll see a news article that's sensationalizing something like, you know, Instagram is terrible for teens or something like.
Only if you use it wrong is like my like general like consensus. It's like I'm over here like enjoying the frick out of my memes and funny little posts. Like I use Instagram for writing help.
Right.
Like these are all words that describe smells, fragrance, and that's just on Instagram. Like
You have a comment?
I infiltrated the building.
He infiltrated the building. Okay.
I'm here now.
What the question is, do you want to answer this question?
Sure.
What kind of conversations do we have about technology together?
A lot.
A lot.
What kind though?
Well, mostly it's like if there's somebody doing bad stuff on the internet, kill them.
Well, do I say that?
Yeah.
You're gonna make me get demonetized by saying that word.
Sorry. Holy crap.
Or like, I remember I saw an article recently. Well, maybe it was about a year ago, about somebody who had sent an inappropriate picture to somebody else, and then they were getting blackmailed. Right? Did I talk to you about that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So when I come across articles of like kids making mistakes or something like that,
Sure.
I'll share it and say, "Hey,
Look at how stupid.
don't
they
do
are.
this."
Idiot. I'm kidding. It is perfectly reasonable for people to make mistakes,
Yes.
just as long as like they know how to overcome it.
Yeah.
And
Totally agree with that. I know you've been listening. Do you have any responses to any of the other questions?
Well, yeah. So like, kind of way back. Just because internet people good doesn't mean you don't have to touch grass.
Go touch grass,
Go
you
outside.
degenerate.
Oh, you still have to go outside and touch grass. I get it. Sorry, that took me a minute. Yes. So, what kind of rules do we have for you guys? Do you have to go outside for a specific amount of time every day?
Yes.
We are required to touch grass.
Yeah. So they walk outside, they touch the grass, and then they come back inside with their electronics. Is that what they do?
Yeah, like it's an ongoing meme.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, like the touch grass.
So one more question I had. Do you know what some of the dangers there are on the internet? What are some dangers?
There's a lot of them. Yes.
There's a lot of them. It's true.
What's the word? I forgot the word.
Unclothed people. Is that one of the dangers online? Unclothed people?
You don't dox yourself.
Don't dox yourself. Yeah, Maddie talked a lot about that.
What's the word?
So like
Predators.
That's the word. I got you with it.
Yes.
Correct.
Predators are a big one for sure. Good. Not a ton, but we have a couple questions here, so let's get into some of these. So, Shelly says, I bought the Gab phone for my 15-year-old daughter. Worst choice. She is tech savvy. Learned to turn off the GPS. A kid phone, and the kid can turn off the GPS. Angry face, angry face, angry face. Yes, I have actually talked a lot about how I do not recommend the Gab phone. The big problems are my problem with the Gab phone is that you can't promote a kid's phone that is not actually safe for kids because you can't monitor content on it. And Maddie's poor face.
Yeah.
She had her wisdom teeth pulled like a week and a half ago or something.
That's the worst.
Yeah. But yeah, so I actually recommend 2 different devices. One called the TrueMe phone, TROOMI, or the Pinwheel phone. And I have a whole post on my website about basically all 3 of those devices. So that's a good one. So here we go right into this one. On what type of phone to get my 12-year-old girl? She wants to use Discord, but I don't think it's an option for Kids Say Phone, as it shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
It's fair.
If your kid wants to be able to go online and have fun interactions like that,
It's fair.
introduce them to like online games or online or websites like Scratch or like
First of all, Discord, you need to be 13.
exactly.
Thank you.
No, period. Just no, stop.
Yes. So Discord is not available until you are 13 years old. So Discord, I would not allow a 12-year-old to have. And so no, it is not an option on a Kids Say phone, as it shouldn't be. But Kids Say phone, though, I do recommend TrueMe, Pinwheel. Both of those are great. When you do get them an actual phone, I highly, 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 highly recommend an Android device.
Wahoo!
Both my kids, Android, because it is safer for them. It has a lot more protections that you can enable on the Android. So we had a question here over on Instagram. Let me see if I can find. Oh, I remember what it was. It was, what age do you think is appropriate for YouTube? What do you guys think?
So YouTube is a very
That's a good question.
That's the problem. Birds poop. I know. It's just a few, and I got all over the place.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to clean that up.
Anyway,
Yeah, it's a good age for YouTube. What do you guys think?
YouTube. YouTube is a very, very complicated platform. Extreme, like two extreme levels, even, because like there's stuff made for kids, but like as I said earlier, that's a whole rabbit hole of disturbing nonsense that kids absolutely should not be watching, like mind-numbing, near like hypnotic, strange stuff that like people should not be watching. And then on the other hand, there's like stuff more oriented toward adults with like clips from shows or
things like this.
Yeah, or things like this. So
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
but a good age for YouTube, because like obviously, and you do want like because like your kids will obviously want to have some kind of entertainment.
Sure.
So
You guys don't really just like browse. Like when I was a kid, we would turn on the TV and browse through the channels of the TV.
yeah,
They have so many more options these days for entertainment. And a lot of times they do choose YouTube.
Yeah.
Like it's
so
got a lot of shows that they would be interested in.
I would say that like getting some kind of like I don't know, like what app is it? Because like, is there an
YouTube
app?
Kids?
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Like, isn't there like some place where you can like put on shows on your device? Like, what app is that? Is there just
What
like
kind of shows?
Plus.
I don't know, there's like
Yeah, Disney Plus,
Yeah,
Netflix.
Netflix.
All
yeah,
of
there you
them.
go. Like that sort of stuff, I feel like would be more appropriate for a younger age because like you can introduce them to like educational shows or just like shows that you watched as a kid and like found really awesome and entertaining.
Yeah.
Like
Animaniacs. Tiny Toon Adventures.
Tiny Toon Adventures, DuckTales, Darkwing Duck, like
Yeah,
all that
we
good stuff.
indoctrinated our kids.
Tailspin. Like I feel like those would all be good for like a younger age, but like the exact age, I'd say around like 12 to 14 is around like when you could just start introducing them to like YouTube and stuff. And like even then keeping like because like there are restrictive functions on YouTube.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure how well they work.
Yeah.
But
True.
I feel like around then would be the time they know what they would want to watch rather than just like mindlessly like
Sure.
on like whatever they find interesting.
What are your
So-
thoughts, Michael, on age appropriateness of YouTube?
Depends.
Depends. That's a great answer,
And
actually.
that is a great answer. Like depends on like how reliable your kid reliable your kid
There
is.
already is restricted mode, but there should be multiple levels of restricted mode.
They actually do have some better parental controls that have some levels of restricted mode these days.
On YouTube.
But you guys are aged out of that a little bit. So
Yeah. So definitely, like, I would say 12 to 14 range is when YouTube should be introduced, and like monitor what they watch on YouTube. Discourage, like, I heavily discourage them falling into like those kind of rabbit holes. Yeah. Unless it's a good rabbit hole. If they're finding if they find a really awesome YouTuber who's like family friendly and they do like gaming or like reviews, Dan TDM.
Dan TDM.
Yeah.
And then I would say at that point, like if they are in that younger age, that watching it YouTube on a smart TV instead of just like on a device,
Yeah.
Where
That's
it's-
better.
would be better because then it's kind of open to everybody in the family. They're not going to really go down like huge rabbit holes because it's easy to like click.
Yeah.
But like on the smart TV, it's going to be a little easier to manage and monitor that stuff.
Fantastic. Yes.
Yeah. I think that's all the questions that we've gotten. Any other, Michael, you kind of missed some of the other stuff. What are your thoughts and feelings about the restrictions that are on your devices?
I'm fine with most of them, but the time limit's kind of annoying.
The
'Cause if
time-
I'm in the middle of something,
That's almost
and
exactly
then I
what
run
Maddie
out of
said. If
time.
I'm in the middle of something and I run out of time.
but then also I have to wait for something, and then it's over. Like I have to wait for it to register and everything.
That's true. I do try and approve time requests in a timely manner, right?
In a timely matter.
Except for when I'm like not at
No.
home and driving or something
Yeah.
like that.
Or when you just like, no, you may not have more time.
Imagine if like Google added like a macro thing like on like Google system for home, and it's just like for your phone, and it's like you could be like, hey blank, give Michael more time, and it would like click on the app, and then like
Oh, I get it. Like, so a Google Assistant where I can add it with my voice would be good, is what you're saying.
it'd be like,
Yeah, like give Michael 30 more minutes of time.
and it'd be like
That way I can
continue
approve his
driving.
time while I'm driving.
Which is a common problem, apparently.
Yes, definitely a common problem. We did have one more question. What about Snapchat? What do you think? Appropriate age? I think that's what she's saying. She says, what about Snapchat?
No.
But I'm saying, I think that was piggybacking on the conversation of age appropriateness of YouTube. What
Yeah.
age do you think kids should have Snapchat,
I am not.
if at all?
Snapchat kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, the filters are funny, but that's it.
Yeah. I'm not very familiar with Snapchat,
No.
but I do say like online chatting apps like Discord, Snapchat, even Instagram, because like you can directly message people.
True.
I do also feel like they should fall under like the category of like being on YouTube and such.
Yeah.
So around 13, 14, when you feel like you can trust them with being out in the wide world of the internet.
The wide world of the internet.
So like around that time would be smart. And again, I do encourage like online interactions when it comes to shared interests, especially if they're niched. So like finding websites or like online games, like Jumpstart's still active. Like
Is it?
yeah, I actually downloaded it like a while ago. Yeah. Because it's fun. I'm fun nostalgia.
Nostalgia. It's like it's why Daddy plays Mega Man.
Yeah.
Or like
Mega Man doesn't count. Mega Man's a game.
Jumpstart's a game.
Jumpstart is a very
It's an adventure.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate the compliment. Anyway,
Uh,
so I
my
do.
kids would get along.
I wish that too.
All right.
Not on the stream.
Not on the stream.
Not on the
I'm supposed to be
stream.
a good parent here.
I'm trying to be.
My
a
kids
good-
don't fight. ever.
Ever. I love you too, buddy. Thanks for the pats. Thank you.
As we wrap up, do you make sure you get your questions in? If you have any more questions, let us know. And then, in the future, if you're watching this back, after I've published it and you have questions, you can still sit them in the comments. I will ask my kids. Maybe they'll respond. Maybe I'll respond. Just depends on what questions that you're asking.
Yeah.
Do you guys have anything else you want to say about parents and technology and all of the things?
Technology should never be approached aggressively. Like it always should be like a calm and it always should be like a calm and smooth transition from one level to the next, to the next, to the next. Like progressing through a video game.
Sure.
You don't beat level 1 and then automatically fight, Xanathar, destroyer of souls. No, it's a progressive thing. So technology should be treated with respect. It's not some kind of tool. I mean, it is a tool, but that's only one of the many things that it can be. It's simultaneously the greatest thing and the worst thing ever.
Truth.
So
Truth.
Truth
bombs.
It's not just some small thing that is floating around here and there, and it's also not evil in its entirety. It has good in it, and it should be wielded with respect and knowledge, and just do research, be calm about it, and do research.
I love all of those things. Michael, do you have anything? Did you want to say anything else?
Forgot.
Oh, you forgot?
You forgot.
Do you like technology?
Yeah. Oh, I remember.
Oh, he remembers. Yay.
Technology is fine. Internet can be good and bad.
True.
Yeah.
Technology is mostly a good thing.
And I would say,
Introduce your kids to video games.
yeah, it's true. It's fun. I'm excited. In about a month, I will be interviewing on our live family gamer, who is on YouTube, and that's going to be a great conversation about incorporating your children into these games.
Can I join in?
Yeah, yes, you can. You can join in if you want.
I will only join in if I can promote my channel.
Michael wants to be a famous YouTuber too.
I do.
I'm
I think a lot of kids do. But yeah, I always like to try and encourage my kids on doing things online. So, Maddie was writing a book. I'm like, hey, you should speak the chapters on a podcast, or
Audio.
yeah, get it out there, because you're writing a book. So
Like an Audible account.
make all the chapters different episodes of a podcast.
Or
So I
make
like to
Audible
encourage them, but
Audible.
I'm not going to do it for them. And so that's kind of where the idea dies. So I'll give them the tools. Okay, here, this is how you do it. And then if they don't do it, that's on them.
Yeah.
But
honestly, I feel like I've had 5 separate attempts to make a YouTube channel, and none of them have ever flown. I don't think I've ever posted a single video.
I posted several single videos.
yeah,
I need to
Michael
post
has
a video.
posted.
I have 22 subscribers.
He's got
All of
22
them are-
subscribers.
Crazy.
Like and subscribe him.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm saying it because of my face.
that's true. See,
And you also said my name.
I did say your name. So we can't say his channel because his channel will not show his face because he's not old enough to do that. All right. So I don't see any more questions. So we'll go ahead and wrap this one up. Thank you to my kids. I will maybe take them out for ice cream or something for participating. I said the key word. All right. So, to tell all of the people that comment on my YouTube videos about parental controls, my kids are okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry about them anymore.
No, I'm kidding.
All right. So don't forget to subscribe to Family Tech and
Bye-bye.
put that notification bell. I am going live every Friday at 1 Mountain Time. That's 12 Pacific, 3 Eastern. Every Friday, I've got some really great guests lined up for the next 2 months. So you're definitely going to want to start tuning in every Friday. So we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.